We are families, we are caregivers, we are parents to children with disabilities and medical complexities. We are rarely familiar. We get together to learn, to relate, and to laugh a lot while we share each other's unique family experiences of raising the rarest of the rare. Our goal is to unite, inspire, educate, and empower people living a rarely familiar life. And we're so glad you're here.
Hi, welcome to Rarely Familiar. This is Tram, and I'm here with my friends Haley and Jen, where we dig into the realities of raising the rarest of the rare. Today, we are going to continue to get familiar with travel because it's such a big topic. There's so much content. We're giving you one little tidbit today from Haley being in a special location. So today is a little different because she is at her mom's place just north of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Hola!
Hola.
Hello. So for those of if you can see, like there are palm trees, can you
it's
hear the birds
gorgeous.
chirping? It's, oh my God. Getting here, it's everything, right? It's all in the packing. It's all in the stress of all the stuff. But once you're here, it's like, I made it.
Yeah, you made
Yeah.
it. You made it. And this is
So,
your view every day. Your mother's, this is like her balcony.
yep.
Okay.
She's up on the fourth floor overlooking a harbor, and she lives here October to April.
Okay.
And to visit grandma, we've got to come down here, or she comes up. But certainly it's nice to come down here, especially in Minnesota when it's gray for weeks on end, to be
Yes.
able to come here and get some sunshine and stop taking my vitamin D pill for a couple weeks. We started coming here with Felix when he was 18 months old. And that first trip was scary and hard, and it got easier every time to the point where I've even taken him by myself. But it's all in the packing. It's all in the planning. All the stress is on the front end, right?
Mm.
But there's a lot. There's a lot to remember. And I just wanted, I think kind of us wanted to try and show like that we can do this and we can connect from different places, all the tech involved with, okay, what does it sound like with my AirPods in versus being on a microphone and all of that? Can we do it?
Yep.
And here I am. Here is proof. I am
You
here.
did it.
And
You did it.
Jen, I know you've got some upcoming travel. And so there were some things that were really fresh in my mind that I wanted to get. Where are you going again?
We were gifted a family trip to go to Iceland this summer. And at first, it's, oh my gosh, this is going to be so exciting. And then the
Mhm.
reality of trying to figure out where we're going to stay, how we're going to do this, how we're going to adjust to the time zone change. All those like details can feel really overwhelming and stressful and daunting, really. And kids are like ours have special conditions, right? So there are things we need to look out for when we're booking, like no steep cliffs nearby or bodies of water or busy streets or balconies and all these things. I think the travel piece is also very stressful of getting from point A to point B. So I'm very curious because we did a
Well-
travel episode, but I'm curious. Yeah, this is kind of like an offshoot of that. What did you learn on this trip? Tell us just a little bit about, because you talk
Well,
about the
things
packing,
change.
you talk about,
Things change.
Okay.
The one thing I wanted to connect with you on was that TSA Cares, which if you don't know about TSA Cares, there's a link to exactly what you need to do. But it's really important that you stay up on the rules because
Okay.
they changed from last year coming here at this time to this year. It changed. Now it's all an online system. And
Okay.
before it was all phone. And they wanted you to call 72 hours, like within a 72-hour window, they wanted you to call. But now if you do that, the phone system is jacked. You can't get through.
But this is a new
So,
change because I went to
this is a new-
Colorado with him in
Yeah,
August,
mhm.
last August,
Yep.
and we used TSA Cares and it was seamless. It was really, and I thought, okay, I'll use that again. So it's
I think
changed from phone call to online.
The more and more people that are using it,
Learning about
the more
it.
they're going to have to manage that much more volume. So
Okay.
they're changing it to an online system. So my suggestion is at least a week ahead of time, go
Okay.
online to this link and they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. And I basically copied and pasted. Does your child have X, Y, Z? Yeah. I said, I copied all of that. I pasted it all and just changed it a little bit.
Okay.
And I only submitted the form 72 hours in advance because I couldn't get through on the phone. And I just crossed my fingers. And thank God my husband was traveling with me this time and it wasn't as critical that we had that support because he was
Sure.
going to be there helping me. But I've traveled here before by myself several times, and I need that support. And I need that
Let's
extra
take it
help.
back. Haley, let's take it back though. So some people, if they've never done TSA Cares, right? So TSA Cares is for people with disabilities or any special medical conditions or needs. And so they provide a service to help escort you from the time that you can possibly come in. They would set up a meeting time with you and they would escort you through the line. It would help to answer questions about if you have medications or if you have any medical equipment. And if you're in a wheelchair, so that way they can help escort you through the line and give you that extra support that you needed.
And
So
in
that was
in our
go
group,
ahead.
we carry a lot of extra liquid. So he's tube fed, so we've got a lot of extra liquid. So more than the 3 ounces you're allowed to carry, and that used to throw him off.
Mm.
And so this is a way for TSA to say, we understand, right?
Yeah. They
And
noticed that the population needed some extra help to get through
yeah,
the security lines to keep the flow moving.
Yeah, I
So
was
it
gonna
is
say
been a
just security lines alone is so
yes.
hard without this service.
so
Yeah, such an
my best tip, without going into too much detail, because I know we go into this a lot more on the longer travel issue, but the process has changed. You need to go online first before that 72-hour window. And then I got a call. We left the house at 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. I got a call at 4:58 a.m. from TSA Cares saying,
Wow.
I am your person. They called me. Actually, she texted me. They said, I am your TSA Cares person. I've been assigned to you. What time do you plan on arriving? I will meet you curbside. We'll get you checked. She was fabulous, but I wasn't expecting it because I hadn't been contacted by anybody, and
Interesting.
the time had changed. We were within that 72-hour window, which I thought was what you're supposed to do. I even have a card that says, "Oh, with it in your 72-hour
yeah.
window." It's like, nope, not anymore. That was a year old. So things have changed. Go online first. It all happened. It happened very quickly. She just got notification that morning that I would be coming. So they did, but did work out and it worked very smoothly when she escorted us through everything, right? Through security line. We were through security in 5 minutes and it was packed. The airport was packed.
So their
Um,
services remain the same. It's just how you get it
Yep.
set up is really different.
Getting it set
Okay.
up is different. So you have to plan ahead. You have to plan on going online and then and they might not call you till the day of, till the day you're flying. But my best advice is trust. The system hasn't failed me yet
Mhm.
and they want to improve it. So they asked that I filed a formal complaint about the phone system because you can't get through to anyone on the phone system. It's a big messy loop. So I did file a formal complaint. I walked the woman that was our TSA Cares person over to her supervisor and said how amazing and awesome she was because she was. And she was so
Mhm.
accommodating. And I said how grateful I was for this service. But I said, you need to know about the phone system and we need to get
Sure.
the word out there. And she very much agreed. Said, yes, absolutely. We need to tell people about this. We want people to know about this, but we also need to know what the challenges are in the process. And so if people like us don't speak up and file the formal complaints and all of that, they can't improve. And this is a new program for them too. So it's out there, it exists, it's awesome. You have to use it. You have to be cognizant of when you sign up. So Jen, at least a week ahead of time, fill out that form.
Right. Sure.
So hopefully they'll get back to you in a
And
more
does
timely
it work?
manner than an hour before you leave for your flight.
Exactly. And it works going home too, right? It's not just a United
No,
States program. It is a
it is
US program.
it is only a US
Oh,
program.
interesting. Okay.
So that kind of brings me to my second point. Through your airline, then you request in our case, wheelchair assistance. And
Okay.
I know Jen and Tram, in both of your cases, you'll require wheelchair assistance. And I think there are ways in which you can ask for assistance, even if it's not wheelchair specific. Tram, you might know a little bit more about this, but that is in place so that you can have help on the other end. And that's done through your airline. That's all about accessibility. And
Okay.
that's a separate thing. So I have another link to I think it's the Disability Rights Act. and you just have to tell them that you have this right.
And I
They
did
will
that
help
with
you.
the airline to Iceland. I've already done that. There's an online form for the accessibility piece. So now
Mhm.
it's recorded that he needs extra assistance.
But
So
that's
yeah, so
through,
it's
through your airline.
that's through the airline, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So you get to Mexico though. I get to Iceland, you get to Mexico, you get to wherever you're going, and you have customs. And how do you handle that? Because the lines can be
Well,
horrendous.
and so if you have called wheelchair, if you have called for medical assistance,
Yeah.
disability assistance, then they will meet you right when you get off your plane. Or in our case, if the plane comes in, there's not a thing that comes out. Well, I forget what it's called. Right?
No tarmac.
A what? Tarmac?
Tarmac.
Yeah. So we have to go down the stairs, get in a
Oh,
bus. And so,
sure.
yeah, we need help for all of that. And so they were there to help us. And then in our case, it's like a 3-hour long customs line. And had we not had wheelchair assistance, we would have had to sit and wait in that 3-hour long line. But in our case, they came and zipped us right through. And we were able to get our bags, get his medication, get him everything that he needed. I check our bags. It's a direct flight. So I check our medical bags. I didn't used to. I used to carry them on the plane. You have that right. And if they give you any guff, it's the law. And if you tell them it's the law, they won't give you any problem. But
So it's designated as a medical bag because
yeah,
then you're not
your
paying for that,
medical
right?
equipment. You don't pay for that bag. So all
Okay.
of it. So his suction, all of his food, a week's worth of liquid food, and that was heavy. We actually ended up splitting it through to 2 bags, and they didn't give us any trouble about
Oh,
that
that's
either.
interesting.
Because I think
Diapers,
one
butt wipes.
was going to be like 100 pounds. All of it. We need to bring his back brace. We need to bring his AFOs. We need to bring all the things. And so all of that goes into what you call a medical bag. I bring very specific things. Like I think about what can we not live without? And that goes on the plane with me. Absolutely not live without. Tram and I were talking about this too. I let myself go to worst case scenario. If all his food didn't make it there, what are my options?
You two have different needs than I do with your kiddos. Like you have
Yeah.
more extraordinary needs in that area. So you have to be super on it. I can't forget Julian's meds.
Yeah.
But if I forget his diapers, I go buy some diapers. Not that I'll find the size for me. But you guys have quite a bit more. And then let's hope the bags don't get stolen because we were talking about the air tags and how you can put them in a bag.
So I'm sitting on the plane and this woman is sitting in front of me, and you know how you're like standing up and looking at what they're doing in front. We had stopped, and she's tracking something, and I hear them talking, and she put an air tag in her suitcase, and I was like, "Oh, that's brilliant!" Like especially if you've got connecting flights, and for some things that aren't like super critical, air tag in the suitcase. But then, so that just was like mind blowing to me that you could put an it didn't dawn on me you could put an air tag in a suitcase. For those of you that don't know what air tags are, Jen or Trum, you can explain those. Jen, I know you use it even for Julian.
Yeah, I put it in his jacket or backpack. So it's a way to track your child or item. So you can use your phone and it's a GPS tracking system.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's amazing. And you can be far away and it's still picking up, right?
Now, were you able to get your air tags, Jen, through a waiver or anything?
I was, yes. So Julian has an elopement risk. And so that is why I have them. So he gets driven by a private company for his therapy and school and things like that. And I'm always just in case something happens,
Sorry.
I want to know where he is.
Yeah. What is
Elopement
elopement?
elopement is when you have a high risk of running away or disappearing. So Julian has the physical ability, but the cognitive inability to be safe. And so he could walk out the door and just head out on a stroll and not find his way back. And he's very vulnerable because he can't talk. So he could get picked up by a stranger. So I have it in his backpack for his device so that if we ever lose the backpack, we can find that with the device and in a couple jackets so that I can find him. And he has been lost before. So it is for me like a safety measure, but I can see why that would be a good idea with your suitcase. If you have such valuable items in there, then the question could be, then you should put that on the plane with you, maybe.
And
But is there
some of
room?
these things,
You know?
you just want to know. The idea is you would probably know before the airline where it was and be able to
Sure.
tell them.
Sure.
It went to
Yeah.
Seattle. It didn't come to, and so that was eye-opening. I know air tags exist. They're like, what, $25 a piece or so?
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, so they're not super expensive, but they're not nothing. And they're an Apple device, but we'll put a link to those if that's something that interests you. So I think those are just the three things that I wanted to go over, like the TSA Cares, the stress of getting here. It's so hard. But if I didn't do it once, I would have put it off. It was so hard that first time. And like anything, like the
Right.
first
Yeah.
time you leave the house, it's the hardest. It gets easier. And we haven't run into any big issues. And Tram, I know you've run into some issues, and unfortunately, we can all learn from that. And I know you talk about that in another episode. But another thing I want to mention is in all of my suitcases too, we have a letter from Felix's pediatrician because we're going to Mexico. It's in English and Spanish, and it's on hospital letterhead. And I put 4 copies of those. I have one with me, and I use that at either when we're checking in and I'm saying I'm bringing medical equipment, and I just hand them the sheet. This is what I'm bringing with me. This is what's in the suitcase. And they go, oh, and they've never once opened the suitcase. Then I put one right on the top in the suitcase. So if they open it to check it at customs or whatever, they'd have that thing right there. That would be the first thing that they see to explain to them what all this stuff is. So I think that's really helpful.
Do you guys have a packing list that you use over and over, both you? Since you have so many items, you just
I have, yeah,
you
I
do.
have an
I
Excel.
wonder if that'd be something we could share, because I would think there'd be things on there people wouldn't even think about, like a transfer belt, or I don't know, just it might be something to share our list.
So there's templates right online for packing, but then I just fill in all of her stuff separate. So I check it when we go anywhere.
There's just general packing things.
There's general
like-
packing list, right?
Like, is there a medically complex? Is there if you have a
But we all
disability?
have separate things, right? Like I literally
Yeah.
list every single item of her medication. So that way I can remember it. And then that way I'm also looking to see if I need to do a
Sure.
refill and if the timing falls. And I think that's the hardest part is the timing refills.
Ugh.
But overall, I would add
Oh my God, the Walgreens.
all the
have to spend
refills.
10 hours at Walgreens. But
Yeah.
before
I
we
think
left.
I would say the medication, carrying all the food, the
Yeah.
diapers, because she's in between size. It's not like she can wear an adult diaper and they don't
Yeah.
have baby. They either have adult or child,
Yeah.
like toddler. But I think the best thing about this episode, though, is that we wanted to make sure this was like in real life.
So
go
I think, though,
online,
that the
fill out.
takeaway for me of listening to you here and just seeing you with this beautiful background is that, yeah, it's possible, right?
Yeah.
It may be a lot of work to get the lists out and the medications and the letters and the details, but it's like worth making the effort, and that there are ways to make it a little bit easier. If you have the opportunity to travel somewhere, which is
There
not
is-
always
well,
possible
and-
for
and
everyone, but
It's seeing family too. And
Sure.
as our parents age too, it's more and more difficult for them to come see us. And so if we can go see them, or if they happen to you live in a very cold place and they live in a very warm place, there's that
Sure.
opportunity. That's awesome. But yeah, seeing family, most of us are probably going to need to do some sort of travel at some point. And if it's air travel, there are ways to make it easier, especially if you are a single parent or traveling alone. That's where a lot of these things are so helpful.
if only
And
they could
even
be
if
on the
you aren't.
airplane with you, though, right? If
Yeah.
only they can ride along. I haven't done an international trip because it feels too hard. And Julian is almost 14 years old, and I'm a person who loves to travel. I know we talked about this in the travel episode. Anything that can make it easier, I'm all for trying. But the challenge too, being on the airplane with children can be also difficult. But once you're there, hopefully it's worth it, though. Which it is.
It's all worth it. They
It
say
is.
like 80% of the joy in any sort of vacation is in anticipating it. And in this situation, it's like the stress.
Yeah, not
getting
quite for these
here.
kind of.
This is a little different, but like I think
Yeah.
the stress and all the things you need to remember, and the longer ahead you plan, the more chance you're gonna be able to remember everything. And then for us, a lot of it's like day on, quick scramble because you're using this stuff up until the last second, and it's throw it all in the
Sure, right.
suitcase. My husband's
Right.
packing everything right before we were out the door, like trying to fit it all in.
Then you have to
You
pack
know?
for yourself. That's not easy either. At that
Yeah.
point, you're like, whatever, throw in whatever.
I
else,
know.
the same
I
thing.
don't even know
Hand
what I
wash
brought.
everything.
Yeah. I wear a swimming suit and cut off jean shorts every day.
You did it, Haley. So congratulations.
Yeah,
We're good.
congrats. Enjoy the last couple days of your trip
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
Um,
that sunset.
Wednesday.
So everybody listening, we do have show notes, and all of these links will be in the show notes. So thanks for calling in, Haley, and taking time out so that you give us some real life so we didn't forget
I'm
about
headed to
this.
the beach. I'm gonna go. We're gonna do a little happy hour at the beach. So Felix is
Nice.
gonna. The best PT is him in the wave,
Oh,
and those waves. He's like a little weeble wobble in the water.
Yeah.
The balloons hit him, and
That's
he tries
other
to
thing,
ride
right?
himself.
Our kids should get to experience these things. And it's hard sometimes to get through the hurdles, but we want our kids to try and experience them as much as
Like the air feels different. The air feels different. You hear all the birds. The light is so bright. The waves and all of that sensory experience and the sand and it's something that's different than their day to day. So many people say, "Why are you taking him out of school?" And he is learning more here than he is learning in school. All the wonderful things he's exposed to. We're still getting our PT in. We're still getting. It just happens in a different way. It's digging in the sand. It's being hit by waves, and
right.
it's just a different experience, and that's so good for our kids. Good for everyone.
Awesome. Yay. So happy to hear.
yes.
If you liked today's topic or have comments, questions, or thoughts on what else you would like us to cover, please visit rarelyfamiliar.com or connect with us on all the social channels. Resources will be listed in our show notes, and we'll be back next time with another discussion around living life successfully with rare medical complexities. Thanks for joining us on the journey.